Well, hi there. My name's John Baburka, and I'm the instructor for the Introduction to Heritage Interpretation course, which I hope that you're thinking about taking. I was just rereading Tilden's Interpreting Our Heritage. This is a textbook that got it all started as a profession. I started back in interpretation back in 1974. Uh, I had a job at the Museum of Zoology at Ohio State University as a student aide. But I needed a summer job, and I found a posting for a seasonal interpretive naturalist. Didn't know what one was, but I thought I could tell stories. I knew a lot about nature. And so I spent after a summer with Ohio State Parks, and I did interpretive walks and demonstrations and slideshows and all kinds of programs. And at the end of that first year, I said, interpretation, that's for me. And went back to Ohio State and changed my major to interpretive services. You can get a bachelor's, master's, and PhD in interpretation. So I ended up teaching interpretive master planning at Ohio State, where I got my bachelor's and master's degree. Went to Alberta, Canada for a couple of years to work on interpretive planning for World Heritage Sites, and then got asked to come to Michigan State University to work on a PhD and teach the introductory and advanced interpretation courses, which I did for about 5 years, and have been a interpretive planning and training consultant ever since. And one of my passions is teaching other people about interpretation and why it's such a cool profession. You hear the word, but you might not know what it actually means. But every time you watch a commercial on TV, or see an advertisement in a magazine, or hear a commercial on radio, you're hearing and seeing interpretive principles. See, when Freeman Tilden wrote his book, Interpreting Our Heritage, he was a journalist and an author, and he knew how to write articles to get people to read them. So the principles of interpretation provoke, relate, reveal, have a theme, have message unity, are all principles that have come from marketing, advertising, consumer behavior, theater, journalism. And one of the skills that we hope to help you develop is how to interpret the hidden stories in things. Every object has a story. Here's a little piece of concrete. Not much to it, a little bit of blue paint on it. Yet the story that's locked away in this little piece of concrete is a story of life and death. From when it was part of a wall, it separated families. People were killed trying to get over that wall. Nations were ready to go to war because of the wall. And one of the most monumental days in history is when the wall came down. And of course, you're probably way ahead of me now. That wall was the Berlin Wall that separated East and West Berlin, that separated families, uh, that could have caused wars, that people were killed trying to get over or under or around. So this little piece of concrete has a story, and it's locked away until an interpreter gets a hold of it and awakens that story. When is a skull not a skull? Well, when there's a story attached to it, like this one here, it's quite an attractive skull. It's very pretty. It came from Mexico. It's part of the Day of the Dead celebration. The Day of the Dead is when the ancestors, relatives, the spirits of the dead walk the earth. And to make them feel comfortable, the people in Mexico dress up as dead relatives, dead folks, and they paint skeleton faces and they look like zombies. And they try to make sure that when the dead, the spirits of the dead, are walking through their cities and communities, uh, they kind of feel welcomed. And so the Day of the Dead and their ceremonies are a very important part of their culture. So that's when a skull is more than a skull. That's when the skull is part of a natural or cultural story. So some of the things that we'll be helping you do is understand what interpretation is, understand interpretive philosophy and principles, help you learn how to plan programs, help you learn how to present uh, programs, and hopefully get you really excited about what a really cool profession interpretation really is, and how you pick up almost anything, even just like a coin. And this coin has rough edges around the sides there. Do you ever notice that? Pick up a quarter and you'll see these rough edges. Why are they there? Because there's a story that goes back to Roman times as to why coins from thousands of years ago were the first to find out they needed to have rough edges on their coins. And if you take the course, I'll tell you the rest of the story. In the meantime, I hope you have a chance to think about it, the Introduction to Heritage Interpretation. I look forward to being your instructor and your coach and helping you understand why I think interpretation is one of the most wonderful professions in the world and why it's worthwhile for you to think about a career being a part of it. Well, thanks for having a look at the video, and I hope to see you down the road in one of the courses. Bye-bye.